The book of Psalms, chapter 71. Make haste, O Yahweh, to deliver me. Make haste to help me, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Psalm 59:1. To the chief musician, deliver me from my enemies, O my power, defend me from them that rise up against me.
Now, we don't like to be too gloomy on this show, but two new developments have shown the pace at which our world is heading into peril.
One is the astonishing growth of artificial intelligence and robotics in military planning. The other is the possibility humans might not even control the decisions in any large-scale future conflict.
This was the moment this week the world came to realise what China can do with robots. There is no equivalent humanoid robot capability in the West, product, say some experts, of China's higher concentration of robotic production lines. And if that's all that's going on, that's okay. It's just a good show. With this vision hitting social media today, highly dubious in origin and probably AI generated, nevertheless raises the question of what, at least potentially, will be the future direction of robotics. There is also, freshly released today, vision from a so-called science fiction movie where Chinese robots defeat an army with US-style Humvees and wearing US military camouflage. Few people have spent more time thinking about AI and robotics in war than Meg Ryan.
Well, it's certainly become a larger part of strategic thinking. We can build and deploy not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of drones over a short period of time.
The United States has a project called Hellscape, which the US Navy claims can race tens of thousands of unmanned ships, drones and submarines to defend Taiwan, if that's what President Trump wants.
Is Hellscape real?
Hellscape's very real. It is a very real war-fighting concept developed by Indo-Pacific Command, and the aim of Hellscape is to be able to undertake at least 1,000 engagements with the enemy every day in the Taiwan Strait with drones.
If that's the future of naval combat, where does that leave our AUKUS nuclear submarine program?
$30 billion before a single widget on the submarine is built.
Within a couple of decades, it may well be very possible for autonomous systems, AI, given the speed at which artificial intelligence is moving, to be able to replace many of the large, expensive crewed systems at sea.
With these new tools, and also with obviously our known capacity to create weapons of mass destruction, nuclear weapons most obviously, how confident are you that we as humans are going to make the right decisions with these tools to save ourselves from annihilation?
Well, I'm an optimist. There is a history of largely pretty good decision making when it comes to the use of nuclear weapons. We've been able to get through since 1945 without the accidental use of these weapons, although we've come close. I think humans generally, regardless of what religion, ethnicity, gender they are, they understand that nuclear weapons are an awful tool.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to open up, give all praises, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach and rule well, peace and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity. All right. And today I'm coming at you with a lesson inspired by the elder Amawan Gabar out of the main camp. All right. GMS Awakening 144 is his channel. And his lesson is titled, Jake Gonna Need Spiritual Power. All right. And I titled my lesson, We Are Going to Need Divine Intervention. Okay. Because what you saw in the post-production video, the first one was an actual event that took place in China. Okay. Where you had these robots that were doing, you know, Kung Fu pretty much, you know. High energy martial arts showcase. All right, so this is the technology that Esau has on the left-hand side because, you know, these other nations have it. China has it, but so does Esau Edom. All right, the so-called white man, they have these robots, you know, that are getting ready for war. That's what they're going to use these robots for. They're going to use them for war games, Hunger Games, and ultimately to come down on Jake. Because, you know, ultimately, we're entering into the time of persecution, the time of Jacob's trouble, as the scriptures say, which is the worst time in history, recorded in the Bible, where you're going to have wars, rumors of wars, you know, earthquakes, and Esau Edom is going to come down with great wrath on the household of faith, you know, because he knows that he has but a short time. And now Esau has all this technology, these drones, robots, where, you know, the Lord is going to have to intervene to protect us. You know, this is why the men of the Lord are going to be raised up with spiritual power. You know, the same power that Yahweh Shai had, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His real name is Yahweh Shai. That same power that Yahweh Shai had, the men of the Lord are going to get to protect, to defend, you know, the Israelites. And, you know, because there's no way you can carnally fight against this man, all right? No matter how much guns or weapons or anything you have, nothing is going to be able to combat what this devil has. The only thing that's going to help is divine intervention. If the Lord intervenes and protects us, which that's what we're hoping on, all right? That's our hope. You don't see us at the gun range every day. You know, we're ready for the Lord to come in and deliver us. All right, a great deliverance is coming. But let me go here real quick. Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. All right, so Esau is going to come down with great wrath because he knows he has but a short time. This devil, his time is running out. With all this exposure that's going on with the files, and you know, Esau getting ready to go bring out this mark of the beast, you know, the RFID chip, make it mandatory. You know, we're entering into a completely new age of prophecy, you know, a new stage of prophecy, you know, a new era of artificial intelligence, AI, where they're going to use this AI to assist them on coming down upon the household of faith, on you believers, you know, the believers of Yahweh Shemiel Shai. You know, there is going to be a time of persecution, you know, and you can't put nothing past this devil, you know, and this is just things that they have that they're showing. You know, they have certain items and technology that they haven't even made known to the public yet. And they have these things on, you know, ready to deploy out there, you know, full-blown robots, you know, and if it breaks down, they just replace it with another one, you know. So Esau's getting ready to come down with great wrath. This is the time of Jacob's trouble spoken of in the Bible. All right, the time of Jacob's trouble, where you Israelites, you know, that represent Jacob, are going to be in trouble. All right, and this is why you're supposed to be, you know, building relationship with the Lord, coming back to your power, calling on the name of the Lord, because in this time we're entering into in the very near future, we are going to need divine intervention. We're going to need help from on high, from the Heavenly Father. The Lord is going to have to help us with all this technology that this devil has and what Esau is about to do on the left-hand side. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and grab this. All right, this is let's go here. Jeremiah chapter 30. This is the book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. All right, and he that's going to be saved out of it is the elect, the repentant Israelites, the Israelites that have, you know, prepared themselves, you know, that have changed their lives for the Lord, that came back to the Heavenly Father. In truth and in sincerity, the Lord is going to protect us from these, you know, things that the devil is going to bring. The things that the technologies that Esau has, the Lord is going to protect us. Right? But the day is great, so that none is like it. The time of Jacob's trouble. We've been telling you for years, decades, that there's going to be a time of trouble like never before seen. All right? The time we're entering into is going to outdo, it's going to be worse than slavery. It's going to be worse than 9/11. It's going to be worse than, you know, any economic crash you've ever seen or heard of. It's going to be worse than any event in history. All right? Because of the technology that this devil has. You know, now it's advanced warfare. They actually have a Call of Duty advanced warfare, you know. But I'm also let the elder speak a little bit, you know, because as the elder was saying, you know, when you see stuff like this, you should think of certain movies. The first movie I thought about was I, Robot. You know, that movie I, Robot with Will Smith. And they got other movies, Terminator, stuff like that, where, where they showing you. So, hey, we're going to need some help from on high. We are going to need the Lord, and the Lord is going to come through for his men, all right? And if you're not one of the elect, you're going to be left out here trying to fight robots like this, all right? Wondering what the hell is going on, okay? So, we in a time of war, a time to prepare, a time to, ready yourself for the things that are getting ready to come. Stay locked in, stay prayed up, continue to fast, continue to, feed the spirit, and starve the flesh, because we want the Lord to protect us. And he will, all right? The Lord is going to protect us. So let's go here. This is John chapter 14 and verse 12. It says, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father." All right, so Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he said that the works that he did, we were going to be doing that also, the men of the Lord, the believers of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So, the same things that Yahweh Shai was doing when he was on the earth, turning water to wine. That's what? Manipulation of the elements, walking on water, teleporting, transportation, raising the dead. All of these things, the men of the Lord is going to get that power, to combat this devil, because that right hand power is way stronger than the left hand, all right? But we see that left hand power ain't nothing to play with either. That left hand AI technology, that left hand spiritual power that Esau has, you can't fight against it carnally, all right? We're going to need the Lord to come through for us, all right? But see, the Lord promised us that he would deliver us. But John 14 and 13, it says, "And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it." All right, and we've been blessed with the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which is going to be a key component in the time of Jacob's trouble. If you don't have the name of the Lord, you don't know what his name is, how are you going to call upon him? How is he going to hear you? You got to have the name. So in that day, we're going to be calling on that name when Esau comes with that wrath, with these FEMA troops and these robots. We're going to be praying and calling on the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which we should be exercising that now. That's what we're exercising now, getting our spirit ready for the times that we're entering into. Now's not the time to be living a carefree life of sin, having fun and all of that. The Lord's about to bring that all to an end in a very dramatic way. All right. Life as you know it is going to change dramatically. And if you don't have the Lord to protect you and guide you, you're going to be caught up in the middle of all this, wondering what the hell is going on. Why is there robots outside, killing people? All right. But see, you brothers of the faith, the Lord is going to raise you up with power on the right hand side, spiritual power. All right. Divine intervention. All right. Which I actually got this pulled up on the chat. All right. Let me see. So what is divine intervention? I'm just going to read it. I know you can't see it all, but that's all right. It says, what is divine intervention? Divine intervention is the belief that God directly steps into human history to guide, rescue, judge, protect, or fulfill his purposes. And that's exactly what the Lord is going to do. All right. In the time of Jacob's trouble, when Esau comes with his, AI, his robots, his FEMA troops, military soldiers, the Most High is going to step in to rescue and to protect the household of faith, So this is the benefits of serving the Lord, you know, of knowing the name of the Lord, of disciplining yourself to the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, there's a reward. And part of that reward is that when all hell breaks loose and there's no more food and water, and when there's troops out here, the Lord is going to be with us. You know, he's going to protect us divinely, things that can't be explained, you know, things that haven't been done on earth in thousands of years is about to happen again. Okay. It says divine intervention. It can be dramatic and miraculous, like parting a sea. Yeah, like when Moses parted the sea. All right, divine intervention, and the Israelites, you know, escaped the Egyptians. It says, or quiet and providential, like arranging circumstances behind the scenes. And that's what the Lord is doing. See, the Lord is arranging circumstances behind the scenes. So while everybody's looking at China and Russia and, you know, World War III, the Lord is raising his men up. All right. The Lord is raising his men up behind the scenes. It says in the Bible, divine intervention often delivers God's people from danger, confirms God's power over nature and nations, fulfills prophecy. And that's what the Lord's going to do. He's going to fulfill. This is prophecy. You know, that the men of the Lord will get spiritual power to protect the believers, to protect the house of faith. And you know, when one brother gets that power is going to, you know, I mean, even if one brother gets that, one brother can destroy the whole earth with that power. But see, the Lord is going to raise different brothers up. Certain brothers are going to get certain powers. And then in the kingdom, when we get that new body, we're going to have all the powers in one. All right. So this is going to fulfill prophecy, which we're going to get the prophecy right now. Okay. Which is when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Most High is going to lift up a standard. All right. But it says brings judgment or mercy. And the Lord's going to do both. The Lord's going to bring judgment. The time of Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose. And he's also going to bring mercy. Okay. And these everyday people, they have no idea what the hell is going on. You're so caught up in the damn Epstein files and you don't realize that all hell is getting ready to break loose. You know, your local Walmart's going to be no food in it. All right. You have no idea what's going on, man. All right. And then the Lord is only going to show mercy to the elect, the believers, the body of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It says advances God's redemptive plan. Below are major biblical examples. The parting of the Red Sea. So this right here is an example of divine intervention. Daniel in the lion's den. Protection. And look, they got these damn Edomites. Daniel wasn't a so-called white man. That's a damn lie. All right, see how they do this. This is all Renaissance art, you know, where they took all the images and they whitewashed them. All right, all the biblical prophets, they were dark brown skinned man, so-called black men. Daniel was a so-called black man. But see, this devil, he took all the images, iconoclasm in the Renaissance, and he whitewashed all the images like the devil he is. All right. Elijah and the fire from heaven. Yep. So these are some examples. All right. So now let me do this. Let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. And let's go to Isaiah 59:19. Got it right here. Isaiah 59:19. Isaiah 59:19, it says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. All right, we're going to go into this word flood in the Hebrew to get more understanding. Where we're going to go in, let's go into the word flood real quick, and then we're going to go into standard. A stream, river, a flood. Okay. So when you think about a flood, it's overwhelming. So Esau, the so-called white man, he's going to come guns blazing, robots, all different types of shit this devil has. All right. And that's when the Lord said what? The Lord is going to what? Lift up a standard. When you go into this word standard in the blue letter,
Strong's H5127. Noose. Noose.
it says to flee, to escape, to take flight, to depart, to disappear, to fly, to the attack. On horseback, it says to drive at, to take flight, to put to flight, to cause to disappear, to hide. So this right here is, spiritual power that the Lord is going to bless his men with to protect us from the technology and the things that this devil has, man. All right. So, I mean, there's nothing you could do carnally. No amount of weaponry you have is going to be able to help you in the time we're coming into. We're going to need that help from on high. So, and that's prophecy being fulfilled. All right. Divine intervention. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, that's when the Lord is going to raise that standard. That's when certain men of the Lord are going to get that power. You know, the reward for being obedient. So, the Lord is going to turn us into a weapon of mass destruction. This is the type of power that this world ain't ready for. Type of power that this world cannot explain. But that's exactly what the Lord is about to do. All right, let's go to Jeremiah 51:20. All right. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 20. It says, "Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war." So the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Messiah, the Lord is going to raise his men up as weapons of war. The Most High going to turn us into weapons of war, all right, to combat this, all right? This is why the lesson's entitled the way it is. You know, Jake is going to need spiritual power. We are going to need divine intervention. We're going to need help from the Heavenly Father to protect us from what this devil has, man, because we know Esau, his plan ultimately is to take us out, you know, starting with the prophets, the men of the Lord, you know, because of the testimony that we hold, the words that we speak, you know. We're prophesying the downfall of this man's kingdom. We're prophesying the downfall of America, the destruction of this place. We're prophesying that this man is about to go into slavery. So, you know, these devils are upset. They're mad, and they're going to come down with wrath, and they're going to bring these robots and, robot dogs and shit like that. And that's when the Lord is going to make his move and protect us divinely. Turn us into weapons of war, man. All right? Jeremiah 51:20, it says, "Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms." So the Most High is going to use the brothers of the faith, to destroy kingdoms, to bring down kingdoms. And how is that going to happen? By spiritual power. Power that you see in movies and stuff. This is real life. This has been documented in the Holy Bible. All right. And if you don't believe, it's not for you. You can go watch something else. All right. This is for the elect at the end of the day. And whoever the elect is, they're going to hear this message. They're going to repent. And they're going to align themselves up with being delivered. All right. Jeremiah 51:21, it says, "And with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider. And with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider." Yeah, so these different tanks and fighter jets, they're not going to be able to do nothing against the men of the Lord. The scriptures say that no weapon formed against thee shall prosper. So Esau has this technology, but none of it is going to prosper against the elect. All right, and we have to believe that. That's why you got to keep your medicine high, man. Continue to pray, continue to fast, because we are entering into the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. It's going to be a very bloody time. All right. Jeremiah 51:22, it says, "With thee will I break in pieces man and woman. And with thee will I break in pieces old and young. And with thee will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with thee the shepherd and his flock. And with thee will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen. And with thee will I break in pieces captains and rulers. So that's what the Lord raising his men up, you know. And this is going to happen on this side in the very near future. All right. When Esau tries to, fulfill this new world order and he comes and persecutes the house of faith, the house of David. Hey, Yahweh Shem Yahushai going to raise his men up. All right. Divine intervention. So I'm going to let the elders speak a little bit and then we'll play it.
But anyway, that was the spirit. So, and this is all AI generated, clearly. But they're showing you, and it's my first thought when I seen it, that all this man got to do, Esau Edom got to do is strap some heavy artillery to these things. You know, and of course, in this second clip here, they're going into how they can use these technologies as tools. Instead of sending men boots on the ground, they can send in this technology and whatnot. So I'm not going to get all into that. You know, I just want to make this quick, fast, straight to the point, like I said.
Yep. And it's the spirit because the elder Ash, I believe he had actually dropped this video in the chat earlier in the week. You know, and I said, all you got to do it now. All you got to do is give it an AK-47, you know. So just like I said earlier in the lesson, they got a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. That's the time we're living in. We're living in the time of the future. Advanced Warfare. It's not going to be soldiers on the battleground. All right. It's going to be robots, robotics, artificial intelligence, things of that nature. And this is why we're going to need Yahweh Shai to come through and divinely protect us.
You know, certain movies should come to mind. One that come to my mind immediately is iRobot, yep. Terminator, the series, the saga. You know, in other movies, brothers can put them up there. You know, you can just mention them, drop them, or whatnot. But you know, the nations, they have this technology. Esau has them. Esau got this technology. As far as how advanced it is, we're going to see.
Yep, because like I was saying, this is just the stuff that they releasing to the public. You know, they got things that's hidden away that they ain't even brought out to the public yet, and they're getting ready to let loose on all of this stuff. So, now's the time more than ever to pray, to fast, to get your life in order with Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because they're going to use everything they got, all right? And the Lord is going to have to raise his men up with power to combat this. All right, now worm Jacob, the Lord is going to, and actually I'm going to close it out with that, all right? Let me close it out with that scripture. Right now, we ain't got no real power. The only power we have is the scriptures. But soon the Lord is going to give us power. Isaiah 41:14, because the elect were predestined to get the victory. So if you're one of the elect that's predestined to be beamed into a chariot, all right, and Esau comes with these robots and stuff to kill you, the Lord is going to have to intervene so prophecy can be fulfilled. You have to make it to the chariot. There's no way around that. That's part of the movie. And, there's many brothers that have the same lot of being delivered, being beamed up. So anything that tries to get in the way of you making it to that chariot, the Lord is going to intervene divinely. All right? And that's where our hope is at. Isaiah 41:14, it says, "Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel. I will help thee, saith Yahweh, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel." So the Lord is going to help us. All right. It says, "Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth. Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small. Thou shalt make the hills as chaff." All right. So the Lord is going to make us a sharp threshing instrument having teeth, having power. That's what that teeth represents. We're going to have power. We're going to thresh the mountains going into these different governments around the world. All right. You know, when we come down from them chariots after we get delivered, we're going to come down from them chariots in the new bodies, you know, totally full powerful, have all the power to set up a righteous kingdom on the earth. You know, the kingdom of heaven is going to be established on the earth, and we're going to go around the world gathering up the nations as slaves and beating these nations down with that power, man, beating them into submission. But even on this side, before we make it into the chariots, the Lord is going to divinely come through, you know, so just stay locked in and stay prayed up. All right. So, hey, call Yahweh Shemiel Rashad.